Eczema Phoenix, where we learn how to transform the way we live with eczema. Today is part 2 of a 4-part series I'm doing on communication with eczema. We're talking about communication with classmates and coworkers. I'm going to start with classmates because dealing with eczema in your youth and your formative years can really take a toll on you and affect you for the rest of your life. And I hope that reaching youth with this message will be helpful for young people with eczema to be able to defend themselves and speak about eczema in a way that can be interesting and educational for their classmates, as opposed to feeling stuck or like a deer in the headlights when their classmates point out the rashes or might start bullying them. I'll say in my experience, I was actually very lucky that I never got bullied for eczema. Most people just felt sorry for me. I don't know if it's because I've always been petite and female and however way I look, but I did avoid bullying from my classmates and my coworkers. I think it was helpful that I made it clear that I didn't want to talk about it. But also, I think it was also very clear that I was in a lot of pain, and I'm just lucky that the people around me had enough of a conscience to not prey on that and to actually have empathy. Though I did also go to a private Catholic school, so I don't know, maybe there's something there with morals. I mean, I always feel like it's a very strict educational system, but that the one great thing about it that I appreciate even to this day is that it did instill very strong morals and values and ethical standards into me. Luckily, my classmates as well. Gosh, when dealing with eczema at school, it could probably, I would actually, like, in hindsight, I think it would have been helpful to speak to my teacher about it, the teacher being a good backup guardian and person who can hopefully come to your defense, assuming that they are also an ethical person who has compassion and empathy for people in pain. Just let them know what you're going through, let them know as much about it as you can, suggest things that you might need help with. And so I just want to say that if you have eczema, you can totally get good grades, have friends, be successful, be on the honor roll, be involved in extracurricular activities, because although I had eczema, I totally did all of those things. I literally was on a roll the whole time. Had a few friends, a few really good friends, but I'm also like slightly more introverted, so I didn't really need to be popular. Was very involved with extracurricular activities because they were a way for me to be creative and an outlet for the pain and a way for me to kind of show off my skills, because being in touch with the eczema social media community, I have learned that there are a lot of people with eczema who are very talented, especially in the arts. A lot of great, it's amazing, like the people, the tools that can be the source of our destruction can also be the source of great creation. There are so many people with eczema who are great drawers, painters, crafty people. I was definitely an artsy, crafty person. I did a lot of lanyards and weaving. I drew, I painted, I wrote poetry and short stories. And so I think if you have eczema, one way you can definitely distract from the rashes and show people what else you've got is to show like your skills. And if you are someone who goes through great pain, I often find that it can be the source of great inspiration and the source of great things that you can create as a way to transcend the pain, an outlet, art therapy, whatever you want to call it. So show off your skills, show people that you are more than your skin, because you are. You have a name, you're not just eczema. You're a person, and eczema does not have to be permanent. It can be improved. And so that is something that I think as a child you can do, because once people can become impressed by something that you can do, they can see that your value and that the things that you can contribute to the community or society can be great regardless of your skin, and you can maybe find other people to connect with who have similar interests and skills or hobbies that you do. Maybe one person will lead you to someone else who can help you with your skin or tips, or just having the support and camaraderie can be super helpful just for surviving school in general. And I can't really, I can't really speak on bullying because I was lucky enough to avoid it myself, but if there's anyone with eczema who had experienced bullying at school, I would love to hear your tips or stories, or link your videos to me in the comments below so that I can watch it, because I'd love to learn about like how you deal with bullies with eczema, though I'd like to think that hopefully one can become crafty and come up with some great comebacks. Hopefully, like if you experience bullying, you're a sharp wit and can sort of talk back quickly to that person and shut them down. But also, I think that if anyone's bullying anyone with eczema, it's kind of like a cheap shot. It's an easy target that's really, really doesn't take great effort to put them down, because we already feel down. So like, what are you doing? And stop wasting our time and your time. Be more productive, get some self-esteem for yourself and better things to do with your time, because there's no point wasting it being negative, promoting bullying. And if you are dealing with bullying yourself, you've got to address that directly head on yourself and not project that onto other people who have nothing to do with your original bully or bullying situation. Leave people who are out of it out of it. So that's the main thing I have to say about school. Oh, well, I guess also in high school, appearance and dating starts to happen. You might become interested in people. I actually went to an all-girls private Catholic school, and I was like super shy, so I'm way more introverted than this. In high school I would never predict that I would have a YouTube channel and put myself out there with all these videos like this. But in hindsight, if I knew a little bit about makeup, I think that would have made life a little bit easier. But also back then, when I was in high school, it was like the late 90s and 2000s, and there weren't that many safe cosmetics to use in terms of being truly hyperallergenic and beneficial to the skin. Makeup usually aggravated my skin. So it was just something I never even attempted to do regularly or learn about until much later in life. I know some people just really need that shield, that mask, to just feel strong enough to be out in public. So I'm going to put a link to my eco makeup artistry and hairstyling page where you can find some more safe makeup options that you can try and use to cover up your rashes that will be less itchy, much more nourishing, much more reinforcing to the skin barrier, because green makeup products, in my experience, have been very therapeutic, protective, gentle, truly hypoallergenic. Sometimes the ingredients are just so full of some great botanicals and oils that they make my skin feel better after I wash it off and then re-moisturize. So I'll put a link to that in the description box below, and you can check out my makeup artistry page. That's something that you can try too if you want, and there's a lot of makeup tutorials online that you can check out, different types of makeup techniques, though in my personal opinion, I think for everyday life, you should stick to like a lighter, more natural look. Just even out your skin tone, add a little eyeliner, maybe fill in your brows and some lip balm. That's all you really need for school. Humble opinion. And so now going on to coworkers, work is a really big issue for a lot of people with eczema. In my experience, I have actually been in a state where I was like covered from head to almost my toes in rashes. In college, as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, I had experienced my first death in the family, the death of my godfather. Super stressful. And then I was also stressed out just in college in general to get good grades so that I could get a good job afterwards. And I was also working while I was in college part-time to pay for my tuition and go to school full-time. And I did pay my way through college, and it was a very stressful experience juggling all those things because I'm ambitious, and I was also doing extracurricular activities and being on the honor roll all 4 years. So I had a lot of stress going on. I worked in an insurance company, and dealing with claims and injuries and accidents was another stressor on top of all of that. But I still did it, and I somehow worked and studied through all of my rashes, even was like a full body flare-up. And yeah, it was painful, one that cracks and bleeds and is sore and unsightly, and I couldn't hide it, and I wasn't gonna try to. I can't really speak on the amount of pain and the ability or the capacity for all people with eczema dealing with certain levels of pain from the rashes as to whether or not they should continue to go to school and work or call in sick. I have read and seen a lot of stories online where people do get to that point where they feel like they're just not able to function enough to perform their task or do what they need to do. Sometimes it has cost them their jobs, sometimes it has delayed their degrees. I would just like to offer another perspective where you can have a full body flare and be in a lot of pain and still do all of those things if you really want to. I didn't necessarily have pressure from my family to go to school and work the way that I did. I wanted to do all of those things. Work was optional. I chose it because I felt ready for it and I wanted to be more independent and earn my own money. And I was proud to pay my way through college. So, I made my choices. I owned it. I wanted to still graduate at a timely time. So I just somehow worked through it. Like, there's a lot of pain, a lot of crying, a lot of, why is this happening? When is my skin going to heal? If you really want something, you just make it happen. Now, I don't want to get people with eczema in trouble at work or school for saying this and saying, hey, that person with eczema was able to work through full body flare. Why are you calling in sick so much and all this kind of stuff? Because I'm just really stubborn, and when I want to do something, I find a way to do it no matter what. And I think when anyone really wants to do something, they find a way to do it no matter what, regardless of the circumstances. And it is possible, but I would honor that not everyone is as stubborn as me or as willing or able to go through the pain. And there's probably several people with eczema who have experienced much more deeper pain and issues and secondary infections and all sorts of things that I just wasn't even aware of at the time. If I had an infection from any of my rashes, that kind of knowledge just wasn't available to me online or through my dermatologist for me to know. And I just knew I had eczema, and I knew I had work, and I knew I had school, and I knew I wanted to do them, and I was going to complete them. I was going to complete what I started. And but if you have someone who works with you who has eczema, know that they are doing their best. If they're not performing as well as you would like, it's not for lack of effort. There can be ways to work around it. I've heard of people online negotiating different arrangements, coming up with something that works for everybody. So just be open. Like, people with eczema, we need to work. We need to earn money because we basically have like an eczema fund, an eczema account where, I don't know if anyone actually has like a specific eczema account, but it's like we might as well, because we spend so much money on medications, appointments, different lotions and potions and supplements and all sorts of things in a desperate effort to heal and recover. And we really need to be able to work and earn that money and have a regular income flow for that, as well as just like surviving in food, shelter, clothing, and all of that jazz. So like, please don't just like fire us or dismiss us because we have rashes. We don't want to have them. Also, they're not contagious. Please have mercy. We are capable people in the end. If we get hired, perform to our very best at the very least. If you have anyone at work who is feeling weird around you, the best way to get people to feel calm and comfortable around someone with eczema is just to have knowledge. And so I know it's not always easy to talk about eczema. It's like, when don't we talk about eczema when you have eczema? But awareness and education is like the fastest way I've found for people to feel more calm around me and less worried and less judgmental. So, off the bat, you got to tell your coworkers and your boss, not contagious, nothing to worry about. And tell them, people really seem to calm down when I tell them the source of my eczema. So if you've watched my Sherlock Your Skin series, I'll leave a link to it below, and I'll add a link to it in this video as well, to that playlist. If you can tell people what you know the source of your eczema is, it's just like, oh, okay, there's information. This is not a mystery condition. There's just like less of a reason to freak out when you have more clarity. And so if you know stress aggravates it, people will be able to relate, because stress shows up for different people in different ways. Yours will be eczema, someone else will be stress eating, someone else will have a tick or a tapping thing that they do do. So it's like everyone can relate to stress being an aggravator, and so you have that connection and camaraderie there. You can tell them maybe you have dry skin, and when the heater is on, your skin gets more dehydrated like mine has gotten in Wellington, and so then maybe they might not use it as much or be more aware of the AC. But it's like once you tell people the source of your eczema, they feel more empowered to help you, and that's really what a lot of people want to do, and that's what you want. As someone with eczema, you want support and people to back you up and to like reinforce your healing journey. Tell them the source. If you've watched my series and you've become much more aware of your triggers as well as the sources of relief for the triggers, you can please tell them, please inform them, give them tools, reinforce your own knowledge of those things by sharing this information, and then now they can be more aware when they see other people with eczema, like, okay, these are different possible triggers, and these are different ways that, you know, I can help and contribute to my coworker thriving in this company. Ideally, you're with people who are not super competitive and who will want you to succeed, because that will help the company succeed and everyone will, you know, be happier and get paid more longer. You know, that's a real key. Know your triggers, know how to relieve them, know how they get worse too, and let everybody know so everyone's like on the same page. Don't invite anyone to a sob story or a pity party. Another thing that's really important is to stay in control and to let them know this is something that you're dealing with, that you've been dealing with. You're fine. You can still do the work. These are the triggers. This is what we need to do to relieve them, or this is what I need to do. Just want to let you know, no big deal. Let's get to work. You need to have like that confident, capable attitude, because if you got hired, it's for a reason. It means you're qualified. It means you have the skill set. So own it. Remind people, you know, of what you can do and what you need to do to be able to work and thrive well. So I hope that this video has been helpful for you, whether you're in school or work or both. Eczema is not a life or death sentence. Everything's possible. You can succeed. You can perform well. You can get paid well. You can study. You can graduate with eczema. You don't have to have perfect skin to have a wonderful life. So I hope that this has been helpful for you and that you will thrive wherever you are studying or working. And I will see you in my next video next week, which will be on communication with eczema with strangers and acquaintances. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.